All right. Back with the 97 Ford Explorer XLT four-wheel drive. So, there's just an endless list of problems with this vehicle I'm finding. One of which, and what I'm working on right now, is the CV boot, driver side CV boot. I was not going to take all this apart to replace the CV boot, like with a one-piece one, the way it should be done. So, and I've never used these glued together boots before, so I was kind of questioning how to go about doing this and whether they actually work well or last or not. Maybe a little light on this here. Okay, so this thing, you can see it's not glued completely. I got the smaller end all tied up, strapped up, and the strap that, oh man, it's not focusing for some reason. Or maybe, here, let me wipe off the lens. It's probably it. No, it just doesn't want to focus. For some reason, it doesn't want to focus. There we go. Okay, so it was a cheap, like, I think I got it off eBay or Amazon, but it was one of these, like, pretty close to the cheapest thing I could find. But there's a lot of cheap ones that won't fit. But anyway, found this one to fit my vehicle. Has one seam to glue. Comes with two straps for both ends. Comes with grease. Came in this little box. Pack of grease. Gives you gloves, which I don't need to use. And a couple of these super cheap, crappy straps, which I find have a weird design, because if you notice these little tabs that are supposed to lock in right there, and then you squeeze that thing. Oh, it also came with the tool too, which was pretty cool. So it came with that tool. So it came with everything to install it. The glue, straps, the tool, gloves, grease, everything. I cleaned out the ball joint really well. Cleaned it all up. Took wire oil to it. Brake cleaner or whatnot. And the old boot, that's all it had. That was all the damage. But after cutting this thing off, it had like zero grease inside, which was really surprising, but I guess I shouldn't be surprised considering the rest of the vehicle and the condition it's in. But anyway, so I was sitting here trying to, plan my attack here, and it was going to be way too hard to just run one bead all the way up the seam and then just try to glue the whole thing together at once at the same time. Not going to work. Not going to work. I mean, if you can figure out how to do it that way, go ahead if it works for you. But what I found and how I'm doing it is, because the diameter of the shaft was slightly larger than the inner diameter of the boot, so it was going to be a lot harder to pinch and glue together this end. So what I did, because the shaft was a little more narrow on a couple inches towards the end of the axle, what I did was I slid it down over to the skinnier section of the shaft, and I glued just this little area. Just held this little area together. And once that cured and glued, or dried up, I wiped a little grease all around the shaft, and I pinched the seam a little bit, tried to give it some support as I slid it up over the larger diameter area of the shaft where the boot's supposed to be strapped. There's like a groove cut in that prevents it from sliding off. So you have to strap it right on that groove. And it worked. So the little seam right there, little section of seam held. Slid it up, strapped it so it won't fall apart. Plus, that gives the rest of it strength for gluing the rest of it. And almost broke this strap. They're just cheap, super skinny. The design is weird, and I'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, I used the tool to pinch it, and it almost tore out really easily. So it's still kind of it still moves, slides, but it's fine. So basically, I'm gluing section by section. And the nice thing about this glue is it's like water, so it'll run down where it needs to. So you don't have to worry about opening up a section too much and having it split open. So just enough. The tip of the nozzle here is like really skinny, so you just stick it right in there and just squeeze a little, and it'll run down in every direction. And yeah, once I do section to section and it's all dry and ready to go, then I'll strap this end and be done with it, and then we'll see if it holds or not. Now, about the strap designs. This is the original one. Okay, you can see on the inner diameter is like all smooth, and you got those tabs on the outside. And you're supposed to put the tab through one of these little holes, and that locks it, and then that's where you pinch that thing with the tool. So if you notice, the little spiky tabs are pointed down. So when you lock it, they're going to be sticking out towards the rubber, so they're going to cut into the rubber. So I'm not sure what's up with this design, but maybe it won't cause any issues. I hope a few months from now that the CV boot doesn't start to tear. Shouldn't be a problem, but well, what do you expect? CV boot kit for under $20, and just kind of got to figure out how to do this and get it right, because if you screw up, and I mean like you messed up and you couldn't get it together and you're fidgeting around and you don't get the seam closed and dried, and I'm talking about this stuff dries in like 5 seconds, you're going to screw up the whole boot. So, take your time, think about it, plan it out, do it right, and yeah, it should work. All right.